What's up, Metal Neck Nation? We're talking pre-season tree stand maintenance on this episode of Metal Neck Outdoors. We've all been guilty of it. Deer season comes to an end and we sit there and go, oh, I need to go get my tree stand. 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 Well, we finally go get our tree stand. What do? We throw it in the shed. We hang it on the wall in our barn. Well, there's a few things that we need to look at when season comes up again. One of them is you got to think about that stand's being in a tree, being exposed to the weather. Extreme cold, extreme heat. All the elements that Mother Nature can throw at it, not to mention our weight being in it. There's a few things I'm going to pick out and show you guys that I do before the season starts, and maybe it'll help you. So let's take a look at them. Okay, a few things to look at. One of them is these steel cables. Be sure you double check these so that you don't have any broken wires. What it is inside this rubber sleeve here is a steel cable. Be sure none of those wires are exposed and are breaking. You have one on each side. Double check both sides to be sure that they're in proper working condition. Another thing is these bolts and screws here. Double check those. Be sure they're not broken and that they're not backed out. If so, replace those with a premium grade bolt. You have some here and you have some here. Next, check these bolts and screws here for the same thing. Be sure they're not weak or broken. If so, replace them with a high grade screw. Another thing to look at, which this is a short list guys, but they're worth looking at, is your tie straps to your tree. These buckles here, these straps. I'd recommend replacing them with good tree stand straps year to year. If you're not, please double check them. And something else guys, another good safety thing to do is always be sure you double strap your stand. Don't just depend on one strap from the factory to hold you. Have a little common sense and take the extra initiative and put a couple straps on there. You'll never go wrong by doing that. Check your seats. Be sure everything is working properly with those. I know guys that's a short list, but it's really worth checking out. So stay tuned and I'm going to show you some other maintenance ideas that we do. We're going to camouflage this stand up for you. If you'll notice while inspecting the stand, we have a little bit of rust here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take either a wire brush or a piece of sandpaper and we're going to clean all that off. Be sure we get it back down pretty close to the metal before we get ready to paint this. You don't have to overdo it, just kind of get what rust is accumulating on there off. That way you won't have rusting under your paint. You guys with aluminum stands won't have to worry about this part of it because your stand's not going to rust, but you guys with steel stands, you'll have this issue. And take your rag and wipe all that excess rust off. Now we're ready to paint. These are the colors I'll be using today. They're made by Rust-Oleum, the camo paint. Some pretty good paint. You'll notice I have my stand attached to a tree here, and the reason I do that is it kind of helps me with my camo pattern. I can sit there and look at this tree and kind of get an idea about the color that I want my stand to be, at least to kind of match what a natural tree in the woods would look like. First thing I usually do is I'll start out with the green and kind of do a light mist over the stand. That is, if your stand's black, then I would totally recommend painting it green first, which is olive drab. Then I'll move on to the next dark color, which is a dark brown. I'll mist it to also try to match the bark of this tree. Then last but not least is a lighter shade of brown, and what I do with it is I'll kind of give my stand some vertical lines to kind of match the vertical lines in the tree. So let's get to it and get started. Alright guys, be sure this area here that we sanded, that you get a good coat on here. Starting out with the green, the olive drab. I'm really putting a good coat on the front of that because I sanded that pretty good. Now basically what I'm going to do is I'm kind of just going to mist this green on this stand. This stand has already been camouflaged in the past, so it won't take much to do this. Get all your cables, any areas that are black, any kind of stickers that you left on there, be sure you get those as well. Get the underside of the stand. This is my main coat that I'm putting on. Then I'll build off of that. And guys, like I said, this is not going to be perfect. But the main thing is the maintenance part of this thing is being sure that this stand is going to last you a lifetime. And by keeping that rust off and keeping your stand painted, there's no reason it shouldn't. These black straps, start putting your coat on them as well. At least start building up a color on that black. Deer hunting is already hard enough as it is. If we can keep the deer from seeing us up there, better off we'll be. Okay guys, the reason I wanted to go back over it with this olive drab is to kind of shade in those real light areas that I had there to kind of make it kind of match the tree that it's on. I'm happy with the way it looks here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I was just kind of giving you some guidelines to go by. Let me get the camera and give you a close-up view of it where you can see the final result. As you can see, it matches that tree a little better than it did before we started. I'm pretty happy with it. That's all there is to it. All you gotta do now is just leave it out on the tree about 3 or 4 weeks. Give the scent time to dissipate, and you're ready to hang it on the tree. As always, if you got something out of this video, please like and hit that subscribe button right down there. I'm Neil with Metal Neck Outdoors. Thanks for watching.